Chapter 40, In Defiance. The next morning, Sam woke up to Jenna talking as loudly as possible. Sometimes she wondered if Jenna did it out of spite. Sam stayed in bed, closed her eyes, and took a deep breath. She couldn't wake up angry. For a second, she imagined what it would be like if Jenna were no longer in her life, a question most parents fear to ask, even in their own heads. She actually imagined losing her forever. She changed her clothes and walked downstairs to show Jenna that she was the most important person in the world to her. Jenna was sitting at the breakfast bar having pancakes with her father. As Sam approached, she could see confusion on Jenna's face. Walking towards her, Sam reached out. Jenna, unable to recognize the expression and behavior, panicked. Alarms went off in her brain. Danger! Danger! She jumped off the bench, quickly maneuvered around the coffee table, and ran upstairs to her room as fast as she could. Ben and Sam stood where they were, amazed and astonished, but the sound of Jenna's bedroom door slamming shut snapped them back to reality. Ben and Sam stared at the empty space where Jenna had been just moments earlier, then looked at each other, filled with questions. Ben spoke first. "What the hell was that?" He scratched his chin. "No idea. Her imagination, maybe? Or a new game she's playing," Sam shrugged. "Not Jenna. What was with you and that horrible face? I thought you were possessed." Sam began to realize that her little game might have been a bit too dramatic for Jenna's liking. After all, tact was never her strong suit. "I was going to hug her and comfort her, like loving parents." Sam sighed and looked up at the ceiling as if seeking answers there. "I thought since our strategy didn't work, it might be a good idea to change it for once and see what." Sam stopped speaking and looked around the room. She scrunched her face slightly and turned to Ben. "What is that smell? Is something burning?" Ben rushed back into the kitchen and turned off the stove. It was too late for those pancakes. "So your new strategy is rewarding bad behavior? Is that the doctor's suggestion?" "It's the same thing every morning. She's noisy. You threaten there won't be any pancakes, and Jenna knows full well there will be. Then she throws her fork, breaks a glass, and storms out. After that, we have to beg her to eat something. I thought maybe we could show her some forgiveness and support by demonstrating it instead of pushing it on her." Ben was annoyed now. "So you're making me the bad guy here? And your face? I was about to run away screaming too." Their voices grew louder and louder, and neither intended to back down. Sam continued, "All her life, we've tried to discipline her. We've been so strict with her, but maybe that's why she's so angry and aggressive all the time." Ben had a flashback to Jenna's early childhood and how controlling Sam had been. No one was allowed to have any opinion or recommendation that clashed with Sam's, and it was Sam who wouldn't let Ben hold Jenna on those nights when she cried. If Jenna had been fed and her nappy had been changed, there was no reason in Sam's mind why she should cry. Sam didn't want a spoiled child, and now professionals were saying that might be one of the reasons Jenna hadn't developed empathy toward other people. Sam's behavior could explain why they had to change so many babysitters during Jenna's first year. Lucille had been approved because she was young and would follow Sam's instructions word for word. She was a clean slate. Poor Lucille. Ben wished that Lucille had at least had something bad in her somewhere, but he couldn't think of anything, and the pain was still fresh. "Yeah, boss. Now the instructions have changed. Why didn't you send us a memo? She is who she is because of you. I remember how you shouted at my mother just because she gave her a bite of some food you didn't approve of, all because Jenna asked for it." Ben didn't care about winning or losing this fight today. Fighting or not, he hated every second of being in that house. For the first time, the idea surfaced from his subconscious. He hated living in his home, and he must have known it for a while. Sam's voice brought him out of his thoughts. "I know, and I see how I was wrong." What the hell? Ben couldn't believe what he was hearing. For once, she was admitting she was wrong. Could she read his mind, or was he thinking out loud? One lame apology wasn't going to erase all those bad memories. Too little, too late. Suddenly, Sam and Ben heard a loud smash from upstairs. Something had broken. They both knew Jenna usually broke things when she was told off, but this time they'd been distracted by their argument. There was another smash. Sam and Ben ran upstairs. As they ascended, they heard yet another smash, followed by another. Jenna was just getting started. By the second and third smash, they knew she was fine, just on a breaking spree. The next question was, what on earth was she breaking? There were very few breakable items upstairs because Jenna had broken things before. After that, Sam and Ben had hidden anything fragile. By the third smash, Sam knew exactly what it was. It was coming from their bedroom. Sam and Ben entered the bedroom to find Jenna standing near Sam's shrine. A malicious grin spread across her face as she held a small handmade sandalwood statue of Shiva, one of the most elegant and valuable pieces in the collection. "Sweetie, please put the statue back on the table," Ben said softly. Sam quickly scanned the table. Each item had personal significance, but like pieces on a chessboard, some were more crucial than others and could be sacrificed with fewer consequences. The container holding Sam's pills was hidden and remained safe from Jenna's rampage. More reassuringly, it was less likely to break easily. Sam's silence was more unnerving than her previous shouting. Ben gestured toward Jenna, who seemed more delighted than ever. "Give it to Daddy." Sam extended her arm to stop Ben from moving forward. The statue Jenna held was not just a trivial piece, but Sam couldn't let this little demon win. She knew Jenna intended to break it, relishing the opportunity to see her parents beg. Ben looked at Sam, the hollowness in her eyes suggesting her soul had retreated to an unreachable depth. Without breaking eye contact with her mother, Jenna let the Shiva statue fall. Despite Ben's quick attempt to catch it, the deity's head and arm holding the Trishula shattered. "Ben, please take Jenna downstairs. I'll clean this up." Ben followed the order and ushered Jenna out of the room. As Sam knelt to pick up the pieces, Ben walked downstairs, struck by a disturbing thought. Whatever the mini temple had been protecting the house from, it certainly wouldn't anymore. It felt as if misery, pain, death, and evil spirits had possessed the house for a long time now. Minutes later, the doorbell rang. Simone was at the door, and it was immediately clear to her that some kind of turmoil had unfolded inside. "I'm so glad you're here," Ben said. "Can you sit with Jenna? I need to go upstairs and help Sam with the cleaning up." Simone approached Jenna and set her bag down next to her. Simone asked Jenna, "Did you have something to do with that? Did you know my nanny tried to catch me? She fell down the stairs and died right there," Jenna said casually, pointing to where Lucille had hit her head. "No, she died in the hospital. But don't worry, I'd never chase you, but I know how to catch you." From where they were sitting, it could be heard that an argument was taking place upstairs, though the specifics of their dispute were lost in the muffled commotion. "They're fighting again," Jenna said. "It's because of me." After work, Sam invited Simone to stay for a cup of tea. "How was your day with Jenna?" It was good. She could advance 3 years in one if she wanted to. It's very challenging for such a smart child to stick to the standard material. "You can teach her whatever you like," Sam said. "Also, she mentioned what she did with your collection. I hope the damage wasn't too severe and that the lost items are replaceable." Sam shook her head. "None of it was replaceable. Each of the things she broke meant something special to me. They might be available for purchase, but I'm not going to replace them. So she talked to you about it. Was she regretful at all?" "No, quite the contrary. In fact, she seemed proud of what she did, as if it were some kind of stepping stone, knowing how much you cared and how protective you were of that treasure." "It's the condition she has. According to her doctors, Jenna doesn't feel remorse or empathy towards others." "I understand her diagnosis, but Jenna is still a child and needs to learn who holds authority in the house. While she may lack empathy, she's keen on protecting her own interests. How is she being held accountable for her actions? Well, we've tried a bunch of things and are now out of ideas. At this stage, I'm very open to suggestions." Simone went into deep thought for a moment before looking back up at Sam. "Perhaps it's fortunate I'm here. If her doctor's assessment after all sessions is CQS, there's no telling what Jenna might do, and the problem could worsen before it's resolved. It will be a challenging road ahead. If you need me to be the bad guy, that's fine. I'll be gone once my work is done, and you'll remain her mother and hero." Sam considered this. Having a new disciplinarian in the house who knew what she was doing could relieve some pressure, especially since Ben was useless. "I won't recommend anything that hasn't been proven effective before," Simone added. "I'm listening," Sam said. Simone smiled. So, is your husband a handyman, or should we call my guy? 2 days later, Ben stepped into a house buzzing with noise. The sharp clatter of hammers and the piercing whine of drills echoed from upstairs, drawing him toward Jenna's room. As he reached the top of the stairs, he froze. New latches had been installed on her door, and the one next to it. His mind raced. Why would a little girl's bedroom need padlocks? This isn't a lion's cage, he thought, feeling a knot of unease tighten in his chest. He pushed the door open, and what he saw left him speechless. In the center of the room, a man sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by tools, carefully assembling a strange chair. Thick leather straps hung from the armrests, unmistakably designed as restraints. The legs were bolted to a solid platform, fixed firmly to the ground. This wasn't just furniture, it was something far more sinister. What the hell is going on? Ben demanded, his voice cutting through the noise. Sam and Simone, both in Lucille's old room, rushed toward Jenna's door. Before the man on the floor could speak, Sam jumped in. I can explain, she said, pulling Ben out of the room in a panic. Simone, not missing a beat, glared at the man. Keep working. Of all days, he had to come home early, she huffed in frustration. Once outside, Ben exploded. What the hell do you think you're doing, you sadistic piece of work? Sam's eyes narrowed, her voice cold but calm. Is this really how you want to start this conversation? That thing isn't for Jenna. The idea is to keep it in her room. No threats, no explanations. Just letting her imagination do the rest. She needs to understand what we're capable of. Ben scoffed. Oh, really? Why not go all the way then? Hang a noose in the corner, or better yet, stage fake suicides to show her how valuable we are as parents, what it would be like to lose us. Simone, who had overheard the argument from the hallway, interjected, It'll be a lot worse than this if she ends up in a mental hospital. Her tone was sharp, unapologetic. She wasn't eavesdropping. Ben's yelling had made that impossible. I'm contacting the agency to report this, Ben declared. Simone raised an eyebrow. Installing a chair for decoration isn't a crime, especially when the straps can be easily ripped off. If they remove me, it'll just mean I'm reassigned to an easier job. Since I was the only one willing to come here, there won't be anyone else sent. You have to trust me. No teacher will stay in a house where an 8-year-old claims she killed her last nanny and showed the new one where it happened. Ben's face hardened. I'm not letting you and my wife use your barbaric methods on my daughter, regardless of your glowing references. Simone's expression remained steely. One of my jobs was in a children's mental hospital, and I have no desire to return, not even for a visit. I'll do everything I can to keep any child from ending up there. You think this is bad? You should see what happens in the best facilities. Jenna's condition will worsen before it gets better. She took credit for someone's death. Doctors won't hesitate to medicate her into a state you wouldn't even recognize. This chair has been installed in 3 other houses and never used, but it did its job. Just say the word and I'll have it removed. Remove it, Ben insisted. As you wish, Simone said, turning toward the room. Not so fast, Sam called out. Simone stopped at the door, glancing between Ben and Sam. Ben marched toward the room to handle things himself. Close the door and lock it from the inside, Sam ordered. Simone scrambled to obey, but Ben shoved the door open with enough force to send her staggering backward toward the restraining device. The builder caught her before she could fall. The handyman stood up, towering over Ben. The man was enormous, and now all 3 adults were staring at him. Ben wanted to apologize to Simone, but her eyes were anything but forgiving. There has to be a choice, Ben said firmly. It's either me or the chair. Sam moved closer, her gaze unwavering. You do what you gotta do, but the chair stays. Ben had been imagining leaving this house for weeks, so the final decision didn't hit him as hard as he expected. Now he had a way out without the crushing guilt he'd feared. It was over. Just like that.